Second hour coming up with some very exciting guests, Tom Bevan and a young man by the name of Abraham. I saw a video of his this last weekend about one of our viral interactions on campus. I was very impressed by him when I had him on the show. He talks about how young ladies are going to the left and why they are. It's very smart.
Men are free to claim to be women and swim in swimming pools. You're not free to claim trophies in a women's sports competition.
Right, but see, that distinction is elementary in terms of a logical dichotomy. To her, it's advanced calculus. But this level of dialogue that we've reached, guys, is not the priority of the left. They're not practiced in being here because they never prioritize it. What they prioritize instead is the demonization of any person that is not a part of their group so that they can say, this is a bad person, therefore I don't have to listen or contend with anything they have to say. This is how you see low IQ degenerate women who can't articulate a single argument thinking narcissistically and frankly psychopathically that they're somehow better than others, so such that they can smile and smirk while being surrounded by a bunch of people who are scorning her for being low IQ and not being able to articulate an argument. Because she's been indoctrinated in college to only see the world in terms of power disparities, not decipher it in terms of logic, reason, rationality, to understand the objective nature of any system or reality. Instead, she's been fed a one-dimensional analysis of oppressor, oppressee, where ideas have so little weight in comparison to adherence to the cult that they're essentially meaningless, and being asked to articulate them is the same as being asked to engage in theater, almost perversely enough, in an act of bad faith. Because in the left, who asks you to engage in ideas? You're a good person just as a result of saying the right lines, identifying with the correct identity, and acknowledging other people's identity and attributing to them the correct amount of counterfeit virtue as a result of their hypothetical victimhood.
That impressive video is a young man by the name of Abraham Iyer, and he joins us right now. Abraham, I hope I got your last name correct. Abraham joins us. Abraham, thank you for joining us. Our team sent that video to me over the weekend. I was very impressed. I said, get on the show. I'll be very honest, Abraham, I don't know very much about you, and we're meeting for the first time. Why don't you introduce yourself to the audience and the work that you do?
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you for having me on. I'm glad you got to see that video. I was actually hoping that one day you would get to see my analysis because that video that I saw of you talking with that girl just completely surprised me. But anyway, my name is Abraham Iyer. I'm 23 years old. Since the age of 17, I've been obsessed with understanding the architecture of the left-wing ideology, in particular Marxism, because I view it as the greatest existential threat to civilization and humanity. I could talk for 2 hours about the nature of Marxism, but one of the most fundamental aspects, I think, is its feminine denial of objective reality and any type of objective system or framework that makes sense of the world, like reason, rationality, logic. You definitely got to see that represented in that video, almost to such an extent that I thought, is this a script? Because this girl, started off with emotional attacks and then ended up like sexually exposing herself to you, which was just so bizarre to see. Freud would have a field day, that's for sure. But yeah, I'm 23 years old. You can find my YouTube channel. I upload daily, so that's kind of what I've been doing for the last year and a half. After COVID, I decided I had to speak out because things were getting insane. The left was going off the rails.
Well, you have a great talent, and you're welcome here. So let's dive into it.
Thank you.
I could play more of this video, but let me just summarize this for the audience in the sake of time. So it was not staged, and forgive me for my voice. I'm doing my best to try to fight through this. I lost my voice.
Totally fine.
I lost my voice
understand.
on campus.
Yeah.
So screaming at all these people. Outdoor talking, Blake, is the easiest way to lose your voice, by the way.
Yeah. And to be clear, not really screaming at people.
Not screaming, just have it amplified.
Yeah, exactly.
So Abraham, This was not staged. I was there next to Vivek Ramaswamy. This young lady comes up and she is guns a-blazing. And she is very aggressive. She's also pathological. I don't say that lightly because she said, I don't know who you are. And then 20 seconds later, she recites all this information about me. She knows my age. She knows my YouTube information. So it's like, I didn't even know who you were. Okay, whatever. But what about this video, and we'll play the clips throughout our conversation, Abraham, was demonstrative about a more macro problem we're seeing in the country? Because I don't want to pick on this young lady. I'm sure she has her own struggles, and I'll pray for her. But it is important on the macro. What did this demonstrate in the macro, Abraham, in your analysis?
Well, I think that the left doesn't believe in truth as a concept. So when you saw her not caring about reason, logic, or ideas on any level, that wasn't just that wasn't an accident. And I don't say that lightly. I think it is actually a technically true statement that the left doesn't care about the concept of truth, because when you look at postmodern neo-Marxism, what's clear is that they demonize any system of making sense of the world as inherently oppressive, toxic, patriarchal, corrupt, predatory. And as a result of this, there is no way to make true statements that are allowed. And so only adherence to the political identity, which is one of identitarianism, is acceptable to these people. And so as soon as it became clear to her that you violated that stipulation to her ideology, ideas were a secondary order priority. There was no attention to detail, because attention to detail is making a statement in and of itself, which is that we could make progress by paying attention to detail. They don't actually believe that there is something at the end of that process. This is also the reason they don't believe in free speech, by the way, because to believe in free speech means you have to accept that two people can collaborate to create a better outcome. I don't actually believe they believe in the concept of a better outcome, because there's nothing greater than their ideology. And their ideology doesn't, again, it rejects any objective system like logic as inherently oppressive. And so you were, as far as she was concerned, a corrupt predator embodying the patriarchy, possibly white supremacy, any slander where you could think of to discredit you so that she doesn't have to contend with what you have to say. And this is, of course, the nature of the left-wing ideology, and why, frankly, the left seems so disconnected from reality. I mean, you're on X, you see it every day. I'm on X, I see this constantly. It's gotten to the point where, Elon Musk is tweeting about this because there is no end to the insanity. And people ask, why is that the case? Why are they so self-evidently insane and disconnected from reality? And I liken it often to zombies, because I live in California. I know a lot of liberals. I know a lot of rich liberals. And there's sort of two groups of people. One group of people is separated from reality fundamentally because of their allegiance to this ideology, and the other is able to think rationally and accept the individuality of a person, doesn't disparage meritocracy or logic, the list goes on. But yes, this is definite. Her behavior was endemic to the leftist ideology, most technically.
Let's play cut 28 here, just so our audience can get a little bit more of a flavor. Just so everyone understands, this video has been seen based on the Elon Musk sharing and others. This video has been seen on the low end 140 million times.
Congratulations for Elon Musk spending that, by the way, I want to say.
Oh, thank you. That's it's very sweet. Elon's great. Let's play cut 28.
Do you feel proud of yourself for debating college kids who are unprepared to speak in front of an audience like yourself? Hold on. You're 30 years old. We can agree you're 30 years old, right? Do you think that's a little bit silly?
Are you a voter?
I am a voter. I'm a registered
so I
voter.
vote and you vote. So I'm talking to voters of this country that will determine the future of Western civilization. That's what I'm doing here today. Yeah? Wait, hold on. How is it any different than a professor talking to you?
Than a professor talking to you? Who are you?
Well, important enough for you to come up to a microphone.
Actually, when I first saw this ad, I thought it was like an improv comedy thing. It looked so ridiculous that I didn't even think it was real.
Well, no, you could see. Look how popular Trump is on your campus. How does that make you feel? That's not comedy. That is a 5-alarm fire for Kamala Harris, because she's probably going to lose Pennsylvania. But no, I just want to be clear. Is there something wrong with talking to voters?
No, there's nothing wrong with talking to voters.
Well, that's what we're doing here today. It's an open mic.
I think that you push a dangerous agenda.
About 45 seconds, Abraham. What does that video tell you?
Well, it seemed like theater to me because you could think of it as emotional criticism or emotionally lashing out. When she was doing that to you, it almost seemed as though she didn't believe her own words. And again, the reason for that is because there's no truth outside of the left-wing ideology as far as they're concerned. They don't have to make sense. They don't have that standard the way you and I care about being logical or representing objective reality. Objective reality is their enemy. They demonize it because it is oppressive. And she's, it's disingenuous, but you could tell that she knew as she was saying the words that it was completely disingenuous. It's not authentic. And so I think that this is a almost Freudian level embodiment of the left-wing psychopathology as far as I'm concerned. And that was a perfect clip that you just played to demonstrate that. Yeah.
After the break, I want to go more broad about what is it about young ladies on campuses that they gravitate towards the left-wing ideology. What is that? So let's talk about that after the break. Welcome back, everybody. Abraham Iyer continues with us. So, Abraham, what is it more broadly about the left-wing ideology that is so compelling that young women seem to receive it openly? And we see this with the gender divide or the sex divide. Young men are very much more to the right, young ladies very far to the left. What explains that?
What I think explains that, I'm reminded of something Jordan Peterson said in 2017 with Kathy Newman, where he said, in order to think, you have to risk being offensive. In high school, coming out of high school, even in college, you have to be able to go to war, in a sense, to defend ideas that make sense. It's a lot easier to just participate in an ideology that, for lack of a better term, just calls you a good person as a result of being a part of that ideology. So if you were to join, let's say, a group of people that their fundamental landscape of thinking is morally relativistic, but all you have to do is sacrifice your individual identity, they call you a good person, and once you engage in that type of thinking, you can call yourself a hero. You can pretend as though you're righteous without having any actual merit. This is the reason why I think you saw her act so psychopathically in front of you. And it functionally is psychopathy, ideologically induced psychopathy, where you see her believing that she is the righteous one, that she is the good one, that she is the one who has merit and is acting out coherence, despite talking to a literal billionaire, Vivek Ramaswamy, and yourself, who are, talking about ideas really on a surface level. You're talking with her on a level that is elementary, let's just say, because that's the most she can handle, and yet she still believes she's better than you. This is due to the fact that their ideology says you are above reality, you are above having to make sense. And that's a very compelling young message to feminine personalities. So you see this not only with women, but also with men as well that have effeminate personalities, that they would rather pretend to be heroes than do the work to be actually meritorious or virtuous. And this is something that I saw personally, even in my high school growing up. So I actually went to the same high school that Elon Musk's son, Xavier, the school that turned his son trans, went to. And this is something that was rampant. And when I first discovered Jordan Peterson, which is really what set me on the path that resulted in me in not being a leftist, I was in 11th grade. I remember where I was sitting. But in that same classroom, we had a teacher that told us that paper was racist because it was white. We were deconstructing book analysis, but instead of engaging in ideas, that's the level that we were engaging on. Because again, to engage in logic, reason, rationality is to risk being offensive. And to these people, being offensive means you have to defend ideas. Once you defend ideas, then it's clear that there's a truth. And then once there's an objective truth that is external to the ideology, that's unacceptable. So this is a very compelling young message for effeminate personalities, especially low verbal IQ personalities. A bit of research that Peterson referenced in 2021 that really stuck with me was proclivity to abide in left-wing authoritarianism is positively correlated, very strongly positively correlated, in fact, with a feminine personality distribution and low verbal IQ. And so this is the reason why you see, I'll just be honest, so many podcasts and characters like, and they're not just characters, I don't mean that in a disparaging way, but people like Andrew Tate, et cetera, that are speaking out against this effeminate programming, or you could call it a psyop of civilization, because once you reject the necessity to risk being offensive, then you can basically program people with whatever message you want, and at the same time, of course, destroy the nuclear family and any resistance to this heinous groupthink.
So Abraham, about a minute remaining. This is the difficulty, you're pinpointing it. And the video is very clear. How do you win them over if they don't believe in dialogue?
Yes, that's the question. Right. So the answer to that, I think, is that you have to enforce consequences, because since we're essentially looking at induced psychopathology, these people are functionally psychopathic since they believe that they are above reality. That is the definition of a psychopath. If you think about it, a psychopath says that I don't have to care about other people because I am better than them. These people don't think they have to care about reality because they think their ideology supersedes reality. And so the only way to cure this, the only way to get over it, I think, is to enforce consequences, given that, approximately 2% of a population is psychopathic at any given time. They don't care about hurting other people. They only care about what will happen to them. They only calculate in their head, what can I get away with? And this is the reason why we have laws, is so that there are consequences. I think that the consequences that we must enforce on these people, first is electing Donald Trump, because this is the only way we can combat these heinous freak shows and lunatics, is to get him in office because he will enforce consequences. But beyond that, we just have to demonstrate to these people we are not afraid. And I think that this is why your conversation is so important. We are winning back the expectation that we are not somehow in the wrong for calling out girls as broken as the one you spoke to, as she's clearly not virtuous. And yeah, so
Abraham, I want to have you back, and we can do an entire hour, and you kind of dissect all of our campus stuff. We'll send you some videos. You guys can do that, and we'll have you back. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charlie. Thank you for having me.
You bet. Thank you. Tom Bevan from Real Clear Politics, Great American, comes on the show next. We can all remember the Arizona call very early in 2020. What can we expect in 2024? We'll be right back.